This is our place, come on in. Our place, so glad you're here. Our place, everybody's welcome. We see God on every face. Love lives here in this place. Welcome to our place, our sweet place.
Welcome to Center for Spiritual Living, Boulder Valley. We are a spiritual community that is open and accepting of all. We welcome people of all faiths, all sexual preferences, all types of people are welcome here. This is a safe place for anyone to join and explore yourself, your relationship with the universe, and commune with like-minded people. So welcome. This week is our practitioner-led service, and the practitioners and I are very excited to lead a service and an exploration into adventure. So let me introduce what we're going to talk about by starting with the definition of adventure. Adventure is the exploration of unknown territory, an exciting or unusual experience that usually involves risks. Now, each of us practitioners has some tools to share and some insights on a different aspect of adventure. Kathy Nunemaker will be delving into adventures of the mind. Laura Brzezinski explores adventures of the heart. Jim Babcock shares his insights into adventures of the physical. And I, Kelly Robbins, take a deep dive into adventures of the spirit. So I welcome you to today's adventurous service, and I hope you enjoy the service. I'd like to take a moment and set the space for the service with a prayer, if you'll join me in our invocation. Just take a moment and get comfortable in your chair. Relax into today's exploration of adventure, knowing that this service and this space is divinely guided, and that each of us is here watching, participating in today's learning from a space of openness, a space of welcoming truth, a space of knowing that the divine is here right now, guiding each of us to know and explore our truths for the betterment of ourselves, the betterment of our community, and the betterment of our world as a whole. I give thanks for this space. I give thanks for these truths, and I release this word to the law, knowing without a shadow of a doubt that as these words are spoken, this space is clear and complete and open and welcoming. And if you will join me in saying, and so it is.
Hi, I'm Kathy Nunemaker, one of the practitioners in service today. Please join me in stating our BHAG, or Big, Hairy, Audacious goal, together. We reflect the divine through teaching the science of mind, principles of success, as we co-create an inclusive, inspiring, and global online ministry. I'd like to bring your attention to the candle beside me. This lit candle reminds us of the light within each of us. This light is love intelligence that is part of each sentient being and connects us with each other in oneness. It is now time to say our affirmation for this week. I will say the affirmation twice, and then there will be a moment of silence for you to repeat this affirmation to yourself. I live each day as a new adventure waiting to be revealed. I live each day as a new adventure waiting to be revealed.
I invite you to close your eyes and go within and join me in prayer. As I recognize that there is only one divine source, spirit, energy, moving in, through, and as everyone, everything on this planet. That divine love is moving in, through, and as our very breath. And that divine love is in our heart, in our mind, in our body. It is the very spirit as us. And each one listening is connected to that divine intelligence, that divine love, that divine presence. And each one has the ability to turn within and tap in and to listen to that still small voice, to listen to that creative essence, whispering, supporting, loving, guiding each and every one of us on our own individual paths. For there is nowhere that this presence is not at any moment, not outside of anyone, right here, right now. And I know and claim and feel that power is operating in our minds. That power is co-creating our actions, our ideas, and that each person has the opportunity to live into whatever idea comes forth. They have the opportunity to step forth and move powerfully onto their own path. And we do. Each day we choose to get up, we choose to get dressed, we choose to brush our teeth or not, to eat, to drink, to go outside, to interact with people, to read, to drive a car, to shop, to hike, to sleep, to whatever thought comes to mind. We choose, and we do, and we live in the action. And as we are doing that, Spirit is right there with us, giving us ideas, giving us suggestions, supporting us, guiding us. And Spirit is right here within our heart. Spirit is that energy that fills us with feelings of anger, frustration, joy, laughter, happiness, concern, worry, hope, positivity. All of that is Spirit and us coming in, through, and as us. And Spirit is right here within our physical body. Spirit is supporting us in making decisions to take care of our body or not. Spirit is with us as we have a thought to move our hand, to touch our hair, as we have a thought to get up. Our body moves with that divine intelligence. Our body is beating its own heart. We don't even have to think about it, but Spirit, that divine intelligence, is beating our hearts for us. How powerful, how amazing. And that Spirit, that energy, that divine intelligence is moving in, through, and as each one of us every day, every moment. And so I claim on this beautiful day of adventure that we choose to think consciously with Spirit from the space of love, and we move our bodies in divine accord. All of this with an intentional connection to move on the adventure of life, connected to Spirit, connected to Source, feeling love, feeling joy, intentionally deciding the best and perfect path for each one of us. So as we move forward in the adventure of life that is unique and special and precious to each and every one, I just claim and know that from this day forward, each step, each intention, each movement is made from a consciousness of love, a consciousness of awareness, a consciousness of care for this body that we live in, this earth suit that we may call it. I just know and claim a joyous, fun, creative, and movement-filled adventure for each one of us. And as we come across challenges on our adventure, as we come across boulders on our path, as we come across obstacles or questions, that we continue to move forward powerfully, knowing that we are supported and guided on this adventure, knowing that we cannot make a mistake. We cannot make a wrong move, because every move we take, every thought we think, everything that we do to move us forward is doing just that, moving us forward on this beautiful adventure that we know as life. And this adventure sometimes is filled with rapids, and sometimes it's filled with rain, and sometimes it's filled with sun. Sometimes there's wind, sometimes there's mudslides, sometimes there is just a beautiful open road as we walk or ride or run on it. And it is all still perfect and beautiful. And so I am grateful in this moment to just be in the joy of the adventure, to be in the joy of what's next, of our choices. Grateful to know that each person is on their own amazing adventure. Grateful to know that we each have the capability to choose to come from love, to come from joy. We have the ability to choose to move forward with intention. And we can choose. And we do choose. And I'm just so grateful for this day, for this divine connection, for this divine community that I know as Centers for Spiritual Living Boulder Valley. Grateful for the adventure that we are on, expanding the sharing of our knowledge, expanding our community out past the walls that we no longer sit within, because we have expanded out. And so I'm just grateful for this continued adventure that I know as each one of us and as the Center for Spiritual Living Boulder Valley. Grateful to just release and let go, allowing these words, this energy, this joy in my heart to go back out into the universe, back out into that divine intelligence, and to just be. And so powerfully we affirm together. And so it is.
As Callie said earlier, we are talking about adventure today. I'm speaking about adventure of the mind. When I think of that expression, adventure of the mind, I think of Ernest Holmes saying, change your thinking, change your life. Often when people think of adventure, they think, yes, excitement, but they might also think of danger and fear. Sometimes that fear of doing something new holds us back. Going someplace you haven't gone before, trying something new, such as paragliding, or for me, doing this talk. That feeling that you can't be adventurous, that you need to be totally in control and not seeing the magic in the adventure. Shifting your mindset, becoming curious, and seeing the magic in the world are all tools that can help. Thich Nhat Hanh spoke of this when he said, when we are full of fear, we are often completely focused on preventing the event we dread, and we forget that joy is also possible, even in an unpredictable world. Shifting our beliefs from what we think we know, what we think we hear, what we think we see, to an outlook of what might be possible. Opening your hearts to the unknown, trusting the divine, and always being there. A couple of weeks ago, I was feeling especially challenged. It was a difficult day for me. And I decided that I would go out to the barn and shift my attitude to be around the horses. So I got out the barn, and when I first got there, I decided that I would clean out one of the tanks, and that took me, 10 minutes or so to do, and ended up with a sparkly clean tank with sparkly clean water in it. But then I realized there weren't any horses around me. Where did the horses go? So I went around one of the side buildings, and sure enough, one of the horses had pushed against the gate to the point that it had snapped open, and there were 6 horses and 1 donkey out grazing in the backyard. I was surprised that I was able to get 3 of the horses so quickly back into the paddock, but that left 1 donkey and 3 horses. By that time, the people who lived there had come out to help me. And one of them got the donkey in, and the other, well, we realized by that time that the other 3 horses had gone out into the road, the dirt road out in front of the barn. And they were having the best time running up and down and playing with each other. Well, we tried to get them back in. We tried corralling them. We tried coercing them with treats. We tried everything we could think of. And then all of a sudden, it seemed that they just disappeared. I mean, completely disappeared. How could 3 large horses disappear? We could not find them. We looked and looked, and by this time I'm really afraid that they're going to go down to Ninth Street where it could be dangerous with cars and all. And so we got in the truck and we started just circling around the neighborhood. And then we went over to the neighborhood on the east, and as we were going past one house, we noticed the horses in the field behind this neighbor's yard. So we went back to our place. There is a field between the neighborhood on the east and us that nobody uses. Didn't think that there was any way to get them back into that field because it was all closed off. But the horses, of course, found a way to do it. And so I got out of the truck and went with the halters and got into the field. And the horses still were not interested in being caught. They were grazing and watching me, and as soon as I got within reach, they went trotting off. Well, by this time, my attitude had changed. I knew they were safe. It was just a matter of corralling them, of getting them. And it was close to dinner time, so I didn't think it would take too long. And I just had just pure joy watching them play with each other, watching them just stay out of reach, watching them just be horses. And sure enough, they got tired of that and they let me come up to them, and I haltered them and got them back in. Well, later on when I was thinking about this, I realized that I had gotten exactly what I wanted. I had changed my attitude from fear, from challenge, from all of that to absolute joy. I changed my attitude in the midst of all this. I went out there. There was a package waiting for me of great challenge. It was something that I was not ready for. I did not want. I was very upset about. And yet it ended as an adventure that was really pure joy. It brought great joy to my heart. W.B. Yeats said, "The world is full of magic things, patiently waiting for our senses to grow sharper." Adventures can be when we decide to see something differently. Sometimes just shifting our perception of an awful, terrible situation you find yourself in that can't have any good outcome to, oh, I wonder how God's going to show up here. I can hardly wait until she shows me how she really is in charge. Curiosity. I wonder what God has in mind. What joy will come from this? A modern day beatitude might be, "Blessed are the curious, for they shall have adventures." So next time you find yourself in a challenging situation that seems to be just almost too much for you, try changing your mindset. Try changing that to, oh, I wonder how God's going to show up, what God has for me today. And also remember, magic represents me and God intimately connected. Thank you.
Good morning, everybody. This is a song about jumping and knowing the net is going to be there. It's called Flying Leap of Faith. Walking down the road, one step at a time. Coming to a crossroads, I don't know which way to go. I could take a right, and maybe I'd be wrong. Either way the coin comes down, you never really know. Ghosts over my shoulder, still hot on my heels. Can't seem to shake the way it feels. I took a flying leap of faith and went sailing into empty space, out beyond the borders of the life I left behind. And in a blinding flash of light, I went sailing out in the night, hoping to find some kind of sign in a flying leap of faith. Carvings on a stone, an arrow in the dust, a giant neon billboard or an omen in the sky, map of the unknown, directions I can trust. I'm looking for a landmark, just a sign to catch my eye. Ghosts over my shoulder, what am I gonna do? I'm standing on the edge of something new. I took a flying leap of faith and went sailing into empty space, out beyond the borders of the life I left behind. And in a blinding flash of light, I went sailing into the night, hoping to find some kind of sign in a flying leap of faith. Walking down the road, one step at a time, choosing roads less traveled, my resistance disappears. Barefoot on the earth, but open to the sky. I surrender to the landscape, and it all becomes so clear. Ghosts over my shoulder don't seem quite as real. Don't wanna shake the way I feel. I took a flying leap of faith and went sailing into empty space, out beyond the borders of the life I left behind. And in a blinding flash of light, I went running into the night, hoping to find some kind of sign, hoping to find some kind of sign. I was hoping to find some kind of sign in a flying leap of faith.
Adventures of the heart. That is what I am sharing with you today. When I think of the heart, I think love, as I'm sure many do. Our adventures of love started when we were born and will continue until we're no longer on this planet. Maybe even continue after we've left our earthly form. Who knows? There are many aspects to an adventure and may contain planning, preparation, action, flexibility, hopefully fun and enjoyment, a journey, maybe a destination or two or three. With love, it starts with loving ourselves and then moves to all those with whom we come in contact. But sometimes our relationship with ourselves isn't the greatest, or it could just be better than it currently is. And so let us begin our adventure right here in our own heart. How often do we even think of loving ourselves as an adventure, a journey? I really hadn't until I sat down to really think about, what does that mean, adventure of the heart? So how can we go on an adventure of love in, for, and as ourselves? How can we bring those aspects I just mentioned into a journey of deeper love for ourselves? Well, let's start with the planning and preparation. Quite often, it helps to start with the destination and then create the plan. So what would that look like? Where would you like to end up in your heart, in love with yourself? How would that feel? How would you know when you achieved it? I think that maybe this is one of those journeys where we may have an ideal destination in mind, but we may not completely achieve it. I think we could have many stops or milestones along the way. So what would those milestones look like? What would those stops, those moments be? How long would it take to reach each one? What kind of activities will we do to create fun, enjoyment, laughter, joy, peace, and all those other good feelings? How long do we spend on each activity? A minute? An hour? A day, a week, your lifetime? I hope your lifetime. What kind of activities can we come up with on this journey of heart? I'm thinking of activities like simply closing our eyes, being still, and just being with ourselves, or taking 5 slow, deep breaths to really slow down and connect, or meditating or journaling, or taking a walk in nature, just being in the moment. Taking a bath, reading a book. There's so many possibilities, and we will each have our own ideas and the ones that will work best for us. This is the most magical adventure we can create for ourselves. We can't do it wrong. We can only do it. But we can be conscious of how we are doing it. We can be conscious of choosing to really do it, to take the time, to make the time. And as we meander on this journey of heart with ourselves, obviously, as I said, it doesn't stop there. Our adventure is with every person we meet and spend time with every day. It may be a romantic partner, a friend, a family member, a child, someone you've just met, a pet. I'd never really thought of it this before, and yet I have definitely been on an adventure with my husband ever since the first moment we met. See, our first impressions of each other were not the most positive. We each had formed a not so pleasant idea of the other, just based on a short, quick perception, a sentence, a quick interaction. Fortunately, we started on the adventure of getting to know each other a little bit better. We listened, we learned, we grew, we went into our hearts. It was still pretty rocky in that I broke off our relationship 3 times, and the 3rd time we were engaged. But obviously, we managed to just keep going. And 18 years later, we have continued to plan, to prepare, to be flexible, to listen, to learn, to challenge, to forgive, to love, to achieve milestones, and to continue to set new destinations. Along the way, we've entered into the adventure of being parents. What an adventure of heart that is. Oh boy, does that expand your heart and challenge your heart. We've entered into the adventure of learning about the science of mind, because that really helped us to go deeper into our hearts. That's where I first learned to really start loving myself more and more intentionally. We've entered into the adventure of so many relationships with new people. And along the way, we've continued to connect to our hearts, to love, to support us, and to guide us. We've loved ourselves, each other, our kids, our pets, our friends, and strangers who then became friends. And we recognize that our adventure is not only continuing and will be ever changing, it is so much more fun and easier when we are purposely in our hearts coming from a space of love for ourselves, for each other, and for all we interact with. So I invite you to consider what your adventure of heart has been, where it has been, where you have had these wonderful adventures. What could it continue to be when you intentionally make time to connect with yourself first, and then come from a space of love with all whom you are with? What kinds of joy, fun, laughter, and amazing adventures will you undertake on this adventure of heart and this wonderful journey called life?
There is a song in my soul, sings I am whole. Everywhere I go, it sings I am whole. There is a song in my soul, sings I am whole. Everywhere I go, you know it sings I'm whole. I am whole, I am whole. I'm whole, I'm whole. Whole, I am whole. Whole, I am whole. There is a song in my heart, sings I am loved. It whispers in my ear, I am loved. There is a song in my heart, sings I am loved. Whispers in my ear, sings I'm loved. I am loved, I am loved. Loved, I'm loved. I am loved, I am loved. Loved, I am loved. There is a song in my soul, sings of my joy, bubbles up from deep inside, pure sweet joy. There is a song in my soul, sings of my joy, bubbles up from deep inside, pure sweet joy. Oh joy, I am joy, I am joy, I am joy, 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 I am joy. There's a song in my soul, it sings I am love, whispers in my ear, you are love. There is a song in my soul, sings I'm whole. Everywhere I go, I am whole. I'm whole, I am whole. There's a song in my soul, sings I'm whole. Everywhere I go, says you are whole. Everywhere I go, says I am whole. Everywhere I go, says we are whole. Woo.
Good morning. My name is Jim Babcock, and I'm here to talk to you about adventures in the physical. What I'm going to share with you is a little of my story on my personal adventures with the physical. But first, I want to talk to you about some tools that you might want to use. My tools to have my own very excellent adventure is to listen, to be in action, and don't give up. Listen to that still small voice within. Make it a priority. Listen to others, but be discerning based on your own inner guidance. Be in action to the degree that you are comfortable. Do things that you want to do as long as you feel safe. Take risks that challenge you, but don't put you in harm's way. Don't give up. Live in grace, allowing Spirit to guide you in all challenges you undertake. This is your opportunity to live your best life. Now about me. I have a thing called canvas syndrome. It's a disability that's all about balance. My inner ear canals no longer work. They don't connect to my brain. Therefore, I cannot balance that way. The only balance I have is in my eyes. Also, I have a very mild case of neuropathy, but it's the worst kind. It's a spatial relationship. I don't know where my feet are. So going up and down stairs is a little bit of a challenge. And so how this makes me feel most of the time is tired. From the time I get up in the morning until the time I go to bed, I have to kind of plan everything out so I don't make a mistake and slip and fall. So far, so good. I've been doing this for several years and everything seems to be working. But let me give you some examples here. First of all, listen, I have, I have physical therapists. I have friends. I have golf pros. I have myself. I have all these things to listen to. But when I played golf, I found out that I had to relearn how to play golf. I could no longer be the physical person I was before because everything didn't work the same. And I had to learn something new about how to do this. It took a while to do. It probably took me about 4 months to figure it all out. But what basically happened was I had to look at things as if I was doing it at 80% of what I normally would be doing. Not 100%, 80%. And so that meant I had to slow things down. I had to stay still and be in the moment. And I found out my right leg was much stronger than my left leg. And so I allowed it to be the place where I put all my balance. And when I did that, I could play golf pretty well again. And then the rest of my body started catching up. My left leg became stronger. My core became stronger. Everything started to work together because I listened. Now, part of what happens when you're doing what you do, for me, I have to be in action about things. I can't just not do something. I want to do what I want to do. So I have to plan it out. I have to figure out the best ways to do things. I have to learn, however, from people around me, from myself. I have to figure out the best ways. I have to ask questions within and outside of me. And I kind of, through that process, have learned that being in action is very simple. Just keep moving and don't be afraid. Be cautious, but don't be afraid. But it all kind of folds into the last part of this. Don't give up. I could easily be depressed and not want to do anything because it's too hard. But no, I'm not using age. I'm not using any excuse to stop me from doing what I do, because the truth is I found God in me in a way I've never did before. Changed me. It made me think differently. It made me behave differently. And I find that because of that, not giving up is easy. I do everything I want to do. I'm living a great life and I'm really enjoying it. So I'm asking you now, are you living your best adventure?
Hey everyone, welcome back. I get to play you a brand new song, and that's always really fun for me, and I hope it's fun for you too. You will be almost the first audience to hear this. My wife heard it, and I think the postal carrier was out on the porch and heard it as well. This is called Love is the Only Tie That Binds.
Everybody's talking about how we gotta put it back together. Love is the only tie that binds. How long can we survive with hearts in need of shelter? Love is the only tie that binds. When you've been running, been afraid and felt alone, heard strangers knocking at the door, what if we let them in? Let open hearts begin to melt us all together into one. People used to sing about peace, about brotherhood and understanding. Love is the only tie that binds. Everybody has a place in the circle now expanding. Love is the only tie that binds. Oh yeah. We've got to row this boat against an ancient tide towards our homeland in the sun. Look to the moon and stars to heal the wounds and scars and melt us all together into one. How long can we survive with hearts in need of shelter? Love is the only tie that binds. Everybody talking about how we gotta put it back together. Love is the only tie that binds. 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 Thank you.
Beautiful song. Thank you. Thank you. Now we're going to delve into some of adventures of the spirit. And what does that mean to take an adventure into your spiritual self? Remembering that we're talking about an exciting or unusual experience that usually involves risk. How risky can it really be delving into your spiritual self, to God, to your relationship or your presence with the divine? Often delving into spiritualness, your spiritual self, to me, that involves an exploration of me. Like, who am I? What is my relationship here in the universe, on this planet, in my community? What is my relationship with the universe as a whole, with the divine? And we all have different beliefs about that. Often we're here I know I came to a place where I didn't know what I believed. I didn't know what that meant to me. And it was scary taking steps, even just going to church that first time. It was something I never, I swore I would never do it because I had so many judgments about it. So there is risk taking in the physical actions you take, and also the inner actions you take as you explore what this means to you. Because often your relationship with God involves a relationship with yourself. And let's take a look. How does your exploration of yourself, show up in different spiritual traditions? Like, what does this have to do with God, right? Well, Buddhism teaches the Four Noble Truths, which is a quest to overcome suffering. I mean, that is the whole crux of Buddhism, and achieving that Buddha state is overcoming my suffering. What is causing my suffering? Why? And digging into that. And the suffering in and of itself, it doesn't feel good. It's suffering. So Buddhism explores the self in that way. Sufism describes the self in two ways. There's the social self that we all present to the world, and then there's the true self. And Sufi teachings encourages one to see and identify with the true self, which they believe is a distinct self, yet it's part of a larger entity, which is what we believe at Centers for Spiritual Living, that we are unique in and of ourselves and part of a larger universe, a larger God. So Sufism at its core has that discovery of the self. Yoga has a similar process for realizing the self. The path of the yoga is basically a process of turning the consciousness away from the activities of the external world back to our source of consciousness, the self. The word yoga, just the term yoga itself, it means union with the self. So my invitation is that the adventure of your spirit is learning about you and yourself. And how do we do that? How do we take a risk? How do we take this exploration of learning of ourselves into an adventure? How do we take this into that exciting or unusual experience that usually involves risks? Is we go maybe where we are afraid to go, or we don't want to look because it's uncomfortable. We often have these visions of God and spiritual traditions as this glorious, joyous, beautiful, soft, loving experience. And yet, on the same token, how do we often dig into our exploration of self? For many of us, it's through 12-step programs, right? It's through psychiatry or talking with someone. It's through our pain and delving into the suffering, and is how we learn about ourselves and what we're thinking and how we're reacting to things. And we are in a space of awareness and knowledge and choice when we're able to recognize truth, be honest with ourselves about who we are and the choices we're making and the reactions we're having. And with that honesty, we continue to push ourselves to explore ourselves and to push ourselves to have more qualities of God, qualities of the universe that we wish to have or we wish to live by. So my tools for Adventure of the Spirit are honesty and self-exploration. And we can approach our relationship with spirit, this adventure, in a positive way by choosing to do it and creating an atmosphere of excitement that it's our choice. However, we still choose to step into it, choose to do it, choose to have the adventure of our connection with spirit and knowing and understanding our relationship with God and deepening that relationship with God. And we do this through our spiritual practice. We do this through prayer. We do this by showing up and being of service to others, which is a container that we have provided here at Centers for Spiritual Living, Boulder Valley. That's our intention. So with that, I invite you to dig into the adventure of learning your spiritual self, push yourself in ways that aren't comfortable to deepen the experience and to know yourself better and be honest with what you're finding and what you're seeing, what you're feeling. For this is how we deepen our relationship ultimately with God. Thank you.
When I pray feel my heart go deeper, my heart go deeper into my God.
When I pray, I feel my heart go deeper, my heart go deeper into my God. Right here, right now, right where I am, I pray. Right here, right now, right where I am, I pray. When I pray, I feel my soul grow deeper, my soul go deeper into my God. When I pray, I feel my soul grow deeper, my soul go deeper into my God. Right here, right now, right where I am, I pray. Right here, right now, right where I am, I pray. When I pray, I feel my love go deeper, my love go deeper into my God. When I pray, I feel my love go deeper, my love go deeper into my God. Right here, right now, right where I am, I pray. Right here, right now, right where I am, I pray.
Thank you. And now it's time in our service for our offering. And if you will join me in bringing to your heart whatever it is you use with tithing. If you have a checkbook, you can place your hands here. I tend to tithe off my phone. Just hold it here, holding the space of abundance. And with this, our offering affirmation, if you will join me in saying, this perfect gift is spirit in form, circulating and blessing all it touches. Freely I give, and joyously I receive. And so it is. Thank you for your generous offerings.
I want to thank everybody for being here today. And, I want to let you know, practitioners, all of us that are here speaking today, we're all available for prayer. Go to the website. You'll see the address on the screen now. You'll find our telephone numbers, our emails. Let us know that you want to pray, and we'll be right there for you. So please now join us in our benediction.
I now walk so that whoever walks beside me dwells in the presence of God. I now listen so that whoever speaks with me knows that I hear the voice of God. Whoever places a hand in mine is lifted, and whoever thinks of me is illumined with God consciousness. For spirit and I are one eternally, and so it is.
Bum 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 ba da da dum bum bum. Ooh, bum 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 bum. I do believe I will receive. Just have to know and then declare it to be so with a little time and an open mind. If it serves my highest good, then it will be mine. I do believe I will receive. Just have to know and then declare it will be so with an open mind and a little bit of time. If it serves my highest good, then it will be mine. Said it serves my highest good, it will be mine. If it serves my highest good.
Oh, yes.
If it serves my highest good, then it will be mine. Oh, yay.